Because I need to have whether or not they're going to E to report to MBDA
Okay.
if possible. And I think, yeah, I think so. If they've invited like businesses they work with, they should know. So, do you want to grab something to drink?
I'm good. I got
Is that gonna mess you
No,
up?
no, no,
Okay.
no.
Just
I'll be-
make sure you
I'll
look
be-
down.
No. I'll be careful.
But they still have to be within Atlanta, MSA, those counties. We have right now, 140 something. The network.
You're gonna sit, where do you want to sit? Which table?
What'll happen is now.
I'll let you. I just want to sit. No.
How long did it take you to get here?
2.5 hours. It wasn't bad. She's like, I got Enterprise and they're like, we don't have any cars. I'm like, okay. And so when they finally got one, it was a minivan and they're like, we're giving you a free upgrade. And the voice is exciting.
Oh, great. I will, I'll stay here then.
It's gonna.
Well, I was planning a very casual,
Well, the good thing is here.
That's what I'm trying to explain.
gotcha.
Like even
Hey, how are you? Leon? Hello, sir. Say hi.
I've been there to call you. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
Hi, I'm Marty.
No, he wasn't.
Nice to meet you, Mr.
He always say that.
Okay, yeah, your face
And,
looks familiar.
He
On the
was-
flyer.
He wasn't trying to call you.
And this is my colleague Lauren. Lauren Roberts.
So.
Hello.
Hey, nice to
I'm
meet you.
Sharika. Nice to meet you.
Beautiful there.
Oh, thank you.
Are they
This is my target audience, by the way.
You're out of Atlanta.
Well,
At
yeah,
Georgia Tech.
we're in Georgia Tech. I will plan
But
on
isn't
that.
there because I see there's a group here.
Is it Apex probably? Apex now.
So.
I thought it was, yeah,
No,
maybe not.
We're the only one in the state.
Okay.
And your name for space?
Sharika. Yeah.
Are you girls twins?
No, they're 1.5. She's
So.
6 and she's 4.
Oh,
They're
okay.
19 months apart.
We accept.
So who's better behaved, Mom?
Female certification.
You girls are,
So we have to accept those. Fulton County. Lake County also has. So what we did was we took their resumes and we filtered them to only counties that were.
those in the chairs.
And so we did like a huge ass email.
Are you hungry?
We can do a visual certification in our program, so the way it works is.
Leon.
How y'all
Go ahead.
At the end of that year, then they have to complete our full application.
No, I'll let you know, I'll let you know that your team came to third place. Right, so you need to come back, pick up on the day. Yeah.
On Thursday.
No worries.
What's the flavor?
Utilities has
No,
a
it's
project that
people.
Someone was gonna play for us with the girl that
Oh, believe me, we
the girl was better.
We suffer this all the time.
Okay, whatever.
This is a
You, yeah, all right.
Yeah, so we have how many we got?
Yeah.
I'll come get my girls like that.
It's
Okay.
They'll feel proud.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening, come on, say something.
I will, yeah. We're on track. We have our first denial, because even though we will accept the provision certification, they still have to.
No worries.
I have heard that.
Yeah,
Well, we'll do it offline.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Way. So. Yeah, they're not busy. They're on the city of Atlanta. They're on there, but I don't know how, because it's standard. So again, even though it's a traditional, I'm still checking because they have to put their receipts on this. I saw the name, I was like, yeah, I already got it.
Is there anybody on?
So, I finished, typing up that.
Well, like I said, we recorded it on my Facebook page.
Anybody wanna try one of these?
We normally do.
Was this for,
We, after it's over.
No, it's for our new service.
Don't touch it, I'll get it.
Yeah.
Do you wanna try this on?
And about.
are you like working?
Not really. We have access to them regularly. But I used to work in GI. I came from GI.
The regular dance?
Organization that works on the G.
Yeah, here's some information about our,
Yeah.
our business center. I mean, discuss that in the presentation as well. Okay. For,
Do you want this set too?
That's the update, right?
You should see, I can add this to our list.
You know what, we didn't have the new logo yet, Marty, so we're obviously talking about the other stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
She designed.
People won't also be stuck in traffic.
Well, no worries. The three are online, so
Oh, okay.
whatever it is, we'll.
It's high, oh, yeah, the owl, I can see that.
Yeah.
They could probably hear us.
So,
So I haven't been holding these things.
and then she also.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what
and thanks
We
for telling us.
updated this one because you know it changed.
Well-
So
The
the update
update
is not great.
It is great, but we're talking in the next week, so.
Excellent. Delgado?
Yeah, you got it.
And then.
There's one other, there's a couple of other companies on the joint venture, I forget what their names are. I forget.
It's really wonderful.
Oh, the.
And it was so interesting to read about
So,
how they structured
we don't do that.
the 50-year.
Oh, yeah. That's part of the MFIP program, to try to keep.
Is it at the museum?
Going out to forever.
Where it is at least, where it have a good turnout.
I hear it. So, yeah, but listen, so now I need to go fast. Yes, sir. Oh, okay.
You know what, like, the business is already behind your phone. Or you just made it.
It's all right.
I have read about those. I'm just.
Yeah, they don't.
It's a great, the cities, without having to log in and do it.
No.
I'll just take photos for now, that's.
One reason I did. Be selected.
it up. Oh, yeah, you're only one party.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Dr. Jackson, if you want to come on in. Don't let the owl, don't let the owl right there scare you.
Nah,
That's our camera.
no, it doesn't.
That's our camera. So good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead on and start. We are also streaming live on YouTube, Small Business CSRA, our Facebook page, Black Networking, Small Businesses of the CSRA, and Augusta Network. So we're streaming on 5 as well, and our Facebook page.
All right, well, good evening. I am Dr. Yolanda Jackson, and I am the DBE Compliance Manager for the City of Augusta. I want to start out by saying thank you to Ellis for inviting us to this event. And I just wanted to share with you just a little bit about what has happened and the new program that has been implemented with the City of Augusta. So for those of you that may not be aware, back in 2021, the City of Augusta underwent a disparity study. The study took about a year to complete, but the study was done to see if there was a disparity in terms of minority-owned and women-owned businesses when it comes to Augusta, Georgia contracting opportunities. And the result, the long and short of it, the result of that disparity study did in fact indicate that there was a disparity in that area. And so out of that study, the recommendation was that the City of Augusta could implement a minority and women business enterprise program. And so just recently, on July the 17th, our Augusta, Georgia Commission did approve the implementation of that MWBE program. And so now we are underway with getting that implemented and getting businesses certified in the program. So I just wanted to come by to let you all know that that program is now in place and implemented, and you can contact our office for more information, as well as we have all of the information updated on our website. So if you go to Augusta, Georgia's website and navigate to the compliance department page, there's a link there that says Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. And if you click that link, it will take you onto the page where you will find all the information about our new MWBE program, as well as information about our local small business program as well. I brought with me today and will leave with Ellis a few of our brochures that talk about both our LSBP program as well as our MWBE program. I'm going to leave those with him. However, if any of you are listening and you're interested in getting information, you can give me a call. My phone number is 706-821-2406, or you can send me an email. You can send the email to mwbe@augustag.gov with your questions, and I will make sure that I get your questions answered. So again, I'm not going to take up any more time, but I did want to just stop by and give you some information. On September the 11th, we will hold a public information session where we will actually go into more detail about the disparity study and about the program, the new MWBE program, and the amended and the changes to our previous local small business opportunity program. So again, that is going to be on September the 11th from 5 to 7 p.m. At the Augusta Richmond County Municipal Building in the Linda Beasley Room. And there will be more information coming out about that public notice as well. So thank you all for your time and your attention. I hope to hear from you if you have questions, and I'm going to turn it back over.
So before you go, I had links to the disparity study in our newsletter.
Mhm.
So normally after our events, I always send out a thank you. Do you want me to include, not only your contact information, but the date, 11 September as well? Could you send that to me?
Yes,
So
I
can
will.
include it in our next newsletter?
Yes, sir, I will certainly do that. I will send that to you so you can send that information out as well. So again, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson.
Give me some refreshment. You got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just give me a second. Fire up my laptop. All right, I guess I'm ready.
You ready?
Thanks. I'm Marty Gupta with the Georgia MBDA Business Center at Georgia Tech. And I'm delighted to be here to do a little workshop on strategy, introduce some concepts that can be used at an individual or business level, and tell you a little bit about our organization. One of our ambitions is to spend more time outside Atlanta. And so I enjoyed coming out here today. I'm with my colleague, Lauren Roberts, and I'll have an organization chart in a little bit. So should we rock and roll? Okay. The Georgia MBDA Business Center has quite a bit of history. The Minority Business Development Agency, MBDA.gov, was started back in 1969 by Richard Nixon, President Richard Nixon, by executive action. Nixon did some bad things, but he did a lot of good things. He opened up the China market, for better or worse. He did very good things for the environment. And he recognized that minority businesses were not fully participating in contracting, which sadly was true in 1969 and to a degree is still true today. So by every president since Richard Nixon renewed this agency by executive action. And then in 2021, we were made a permanent agency, thanks to Congress, an act of Congress and President Biden. Our mission is to help minority businesses and other socially, economically disadvantaged and socially and economically disadvantaged businesses or individuals and help them grow. The government agency is not very big relative to other government agencies. The budget, I believe, is about $80 million. And to make To maximize their impact, they have done a wonderful job over the years of partnering with different organizations across the country. And so 20 years ago this year, Donna Ennis, one of our leaders at Georgia Tech, reached out to the national organization and established the Georgia MBDA Business Center. So we're part funded by this Department of Commerce agency, MBDA, and we're also state funded, and we have some private funders as well. We are one of 44 business centers across the country, and there are many other exciting activities. There's advanced manufacturing centers in 4 locations. There's export centers and many other activities to help minority businesses succeed. We have a wonderful team. There are 4 pillars of activity that we focus on. We help our clients get access to new markets and opportunities. Those could be government contracts or private sector opportunities. We don't provide capital, but we help advise our clients on how they can get lending or other funding sources. Lauren and I spent a lot of time working with clients in a category we call capacity building. For example, a client has outgrown their factory and they want to move into a larger facility. Another client is looking to retrofit an old Sears building, start a new business. And so we'll often engage and help them with real estate, with financing, and in other ways, tax incentives and so forth. And then finally, we really are a gateway to a wealth of resources at Georgia Tech and the Georgia community in general. Georgia, in 1960, also a bit of history if I may, Georgia Tech was one of the first universities in the world to make a significant commitment to economic development, helping businesses, helping communities. And that commitment has grown to a 200-person organization with 15 different programs, one of which is the Georgia MBDA Business Center. I'll mention two that you may or may not have heard of. Apex Accelerator. Every state has an Apex Accelerator. It's federally funded, and this is a wonderful organization that helps businesses get government contracts, federal, state, or local. They provide seminars, they provide coaching, and the Georgia Apex Accelerator is run by Georgia Tech, by our Innovation Institute. One of the oldest parts of our organization is the Manufacturing Extension Program, MEP, where we have people all across the state that help companies, manufacturing companies in particular. So there's a lot of resources, many of which are free. Our services at Georgia MBDA are free. Most services that are federally funded are free or heavily subsidized. So that's a little bit about us. Any questions or comments?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So how does this affect the suit that was filed against MBDA? How is that affecting your operations?
Well, we have expanded our definition to socially and economically disadvantaged individuals.
The short answer is, it isn't. We're still providing the same programs and services. The longer answer is, there is a broader categorization, as Marty mentioned, socially and economically disadvantaged individual-owned firms.
Yeah.
So,
But the truth is, we've never really turned anybody away.
Well, I know that, and y'all know that, but a lot of people
Yeah.
saw the name and
Yeah.
not, and that's all they thought of.
There was a lot of news about this. I won't make any editorial comment. All right.
Don't, because it's being recorded.
Yes, sir. But,
Commissioner Scott has a question.
yeah,
So you just changed the definition or just
Definition.
added some words?
we added some words.
Well, the updated language is to help socially and economically disadvantaged, businesses. Or socially and economically disadvantaged businesses, which is a broader umbrella.
Okay.
But we have already had a lot of interest in helping, working in the rural communities of our state, working with veterans, women businesses, and many other categories. And if we can't help a company that approaches us, we'll try to find a resource within Georgia Tech or elsewhere that can.
I'm glad, and I'm glad to hear it, because in my newsletter, when I mentioned that,
Yeah,
I had some questions
Yep.
about how that affects, so now that I know that, I can better.
So we broadened our definition of who we help, but we haven't gotten any more money yet. So, we'll have to figure that part out. All right. And
That's everybody.
as you get to know me, I'm a little cheeky. I'm from New York.
That's everybody, though. That's everybody.
All right. This is just a quick picture of our team. And our project director is Jennifer Pasley. She may actually be in Augusta on Thursday. There's a wonderful Black Chamber of Commerce Summit. I hope you're all going to go to that. And so I'm a senior business advisor on the team. So my role is to really get to know our clients and understand their challenges and help them however we can, directly or referring them to suitable resources. Lauren is our program specialist. So one reason I'm here in Augusta is because she scheduled this event. She handles all our programming, and I'm very proud to tell you, we have a couple of big events coming up. September 22nd to 24th, we are holding our marquee event, which is called the 7th National MBE Manufacturers Summit. It'll be at Georgia Tech, and we're expecting hundreds of participants. These are mostly MBE manufacturers. The reason I'm here today is, after speaking with Mr. Albright, I wanted to share some simple concepts that I believe can help businesses and individuals. Strategic planning is something that I've spent most of my career focused on, and it's a very complex discipline, if you will, or field. And I've tried to identify 3 things that I think a business, an individual can do to help grow their business, to help them grow as an individual. And the first topic I'd like to talk about, the first question in strategic thinking is, what's going on here? So when I visit a client, we often do site visits. The first thing I'm trying to understand is, what's really going on here? And in strategy parlance, that's called a situation analysis. Now, I've done a little analysis to illustrate this sort of process. I did this purposely to demonstrate how easy it is to get information to help your business, and how quickly you can do it. So I wanted to answer 2 or 3 questions. What are some small business statistics? What are some Black business statistics? And what's going on in Augusta? And I timed it. I spent about 1 hour and 20 minutes online. I found about 15 documents, and I've put together this material, cutting and pasting from these different sources. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is the importance of small business in the U.S. economy. There are 33 million small businesses, and the vast majority, and the different ways to define a small business, I sort of like using number of employees. So the vast majority of small businesses are sole proprietorships. They're non-employee businesses. We also have businesses that have 2 to 19 employees, which are depicted on this pie chart, as well as businesses from 20 to 499.
So let me ask you a question, and
Yeah.
Mr. Scott will laugh at this. So, doing the disparity study, they defined a small business as, did he say 8 million or 10 million?
Yeah, yeah. I think
There's a small business. Is that accurate?
Yes, there are small businesses that have 8 million in revenue.
Well, who's in the revenue benchmark, or do you know what the?
That wasn't that, didn't he say revenue?
Okay. Well, we're interested, I would argue, I don't want to get too bogged down, but there are different definitions. The SBA does kind of look at both employee size and revenue.
It also
Yeah.
depends on your industry. For example,
Yeah.
for manufacturers, a small firm is less than 500 employees.
Yeah.
So they look specifically at employee numbers rather than revenue for manufacturing.
And sometimes, I remember working with some clients, some of these like hedge funds. They could have like 3 employees, but they're worth billions. Is that a small business?
Yeah, and the reason I ask is because it bothers me that you would think that a small business in the definition of what he was using
Okay.
had
Well,
10 million, was $10 million
Yeah.
for a program where you say you're trying to help small businesses.
Yeah, we can talk more about this offline, but I think, I like to have an expansive definition. And using this definition, the information depicted here, and this is from the Census Bureau, by the way, they have all sorts of wonderful information. Department of Labor Statistics. The only issue with a lot of government data, it's typically 2 years old.
Right.
So they're publishing 2020, their 2022 publications, which often are 2021 data. So anyways, for sake of argument, there's 33 million small businesses. That includes sole proprietorships. It includes businesses that are incorporated and unincorporated. A person may have sort of a side gig, and that would be included here as well. Over 80% of these small businesses are, once again, individuals, sole proprietorships. 16% are 2 to 19 employees, and then 2% are 20 to 499. And not depicted on this chart, there are about 21,000 large businesses with 500 employees or more. A couple of facts. It changes every time the reports come out, but roughly 40, in this instance, 46% of all of the entire workforce works for a small business. And the other 54% in this data are working for large companies. But over time, I've studied this for many years, it's roughly 50-50. Small businesses employ almost half of our nation's workforce. Small businesses are critical to our economy.
Quick question, Marty, do you happen to know what in these numbers, in the breakdown, are they, when they're counting employees, are they counting W-2s or are they?
Payroll.
Payroll, okay.
Now I'd like to just dig into the dark blue sectors. So without employees, we call those non-employee businesses, basically individuals. And then we have employer businesses, which are 1 to 19, 20 to 499, for a total of about 6 million. There's 6 million businesses that have, small businesses that have employees. So what percentage of those businesses are minority businesses? And what is the relationship, the comparison between the percent of businesses that are employee businesses versus the representation of different communities? And so as you can see, I've highlighted Black-owned businesses. Once again, these are employer businesses. Of all businesses in the country, about, I look at 6 million, less than 3% are Black-owned. While Black population is 13, 14% of the nation. So as we can quickly see, Black-owned businesses, Black-owned employee businesses are underrepresented. And you can see the other categories as well. Let's dig a little bit more. Where are these Black-owned businesses? And where do we see the largest share of Black-owned business as a percent of all businesses in an area? And Georgia, Washington, D.C., Maryland, are tops. And let's dig a little bit more. By metro area. So now we're looking at percent in a metro area, what percent of the businesses are Black-owned? Employer businesses. And 4 of the top 10 metros in the United States are in Georgia. And Augusta is on this list. But there's a long way to go to have Black-owned businesses reflective of our Black population. So this study,
Mark, can you go back to that slide?
yes, sir.
What makes Fayetteville, North Carolina, so interesting?
Well, first of all, I think something like 36% of Fayetteville is. I don't have a ready answer,
How many days is there?
but
Oh, yeah, okay.
but they still have a long ways to go. The ratio of Black businesses is high, but it's also, I think, 36%, don't quote me, of the population is Black. So they still have to go, they need to double, triple. So here's some fun little slides. So this is for Atlanta, where Lauren and I are based. Today, there are 10,689 Black-owned employer businesses. Roughly 8.8% of all employer businesses in this metro area. But Atlanta, this metro area is 36.3% Black. And if we had the right ratio, there would be a lot more Black businesses in Atlanta. And I also quote one for Augusta. According to the data that I'm using, there are 579 Black-owned employer businesses in Augusta metro area. But that's still a fraction of, compared to the percent Blacks in Augusta, 37%. So we have a long ways to go to have more Black-owned businesses that are reflective of their local populations.
So what do you attribute that to?
I have a few, bear with me, Mr. Albright. Another interesting slide is for those Black-owned businesses, what industry are they in? And a third are in healthcare. And healthcare is a great industry. Because us baby boomers. Leon, you a baby boomer?
Yes, I am.
I couldn't tell for sure.
Barely.
Barely. Baby boomers are born between 46 and 64. I'm in the middle of that range, right? And I'm going to need some health care in my tender years. But I'm being a little silly, but this is a wonderful, this category, the blue, healthcare and social assistant, that includes ambulatory, hospitals, nursing and residential care facilities, as well as social assistance. The second category is professional, scientific, and technical services. These are industries where you need some technical training. And so that could include legal, accounting, architecture, IT, advertising perhaps, engineering. And then the next category, the next two categories are administrative services such as, office administration, employer services, travel is in there, facilities management. And then the gray part of this is other services, which include other repair, maintenance, and some other things. So roughly half of all of the companies in this Black-owned employer businesses are in healthcare, technical services, office, and such.
So where do you include the health and beauty?
I'd have to look up this is from the SBA directory, so
Yeah, I don't know what NICS code that is.
I don't want to embarrass myself. But it could be in retail, Ms. Albright, I'm not quite sure. It could be another. I have to get back to you. Is that a particular interest to you?
No, it's just, there's a lot of barbers and beauty shops.
Yeah,
and nail
of course.
salons.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then finally, so those charts I just shared were about employer-based businesses, 1 to 499 employees. Now I'd like to talk about the whole pie again. And this is a very interesting chart, and I think this helps us give us some insight into the question you had earlier about what's going on here. Remember, this is the first question of strategy. What's going on here? And one thing that's going on is that Black businesses tend to be sole proprietorships. 12.7 of all sole proprietorships are Black businesses, pretty close to the general population percent.
Okay.
And so one of the things we have to do is convert more of these sole proprietorships into employer businesses for those who want to become employer businesses. And I do believe some of the tools that I'm going to talk about tonight can help. Laura, did you have
I just looked it up real quick. Interestingly, nail techs, hair salons, barbers are all under other. So.
Okay. Thank you, Laura. So I'm gonna stop now. So that analysis that I just shared, it took me about 1 hour and 20 minutes to gather all of those reports. And I simply cut and pasted some of the more interesting charts into my analysis. And what I have, their market. They're not gathering information about as much information as they should or could, their competitors. Because almost all small businesses have competitors. One of their competitors is, I'll do it myself. And so we need to, when Lauren and I often visit with our clients before the meeting or before the phone call, I'll often go look at their website, I'll look at the competitors' websites, and I'll see, hey, there's some disparity. There's some things you can copy. There's some information that could be valuable to you. So the first idea that I have is what's going on here? Gathering information about the 3 C's, I like to call them: customers, capabilities, and competitors. Questions or comments?
So,
I think, Marty, back to that, you're right on one hand, but how does, so generally, like you said, 12.7, black-owned sole proprietor, generally they, how do they, cause they too busy working their business.
Right.
So they don't
Right.
have time to do, I guess, the, market evaluation and
Right.
product evaluation. And
I hear this all the time. That's why the truth in advertising, the purpose of this workshop or this discussion is most businesses are too busy
Mhm.
working in their business to work on their business. And I hear this a lot. Marty, I know I gotta do this or that. I know I gotta talk to you, but
Right.
I got this customer crisis today. I got this employee crisis today, or both on a
Right.
given day. And what I'd like to push back on is the power of spending some time, and the way I demonstrated can be very, very beneficial. That's what I'm encouraging, the first thing I'm trying to encourage folks to do. You have this gorgeous library. I haven't had a chance to look at the business section or the periodicals that are here.
Mhm.
For example, in Atlanta, I rely heavily on the Atlanta Business Chronicle.
Yeah.
And in fact, Augusta businesses, and they have all sorts of wonderful lists, the largest this or that in the state, in the metro area and so forth. So there's a wealth of information that can help you be more competitive, can help you better understand what your customers are going through and to assess your own capabilities. The second thing I wanted to, if we could hand out the visioning exercise. The second tool or concept I'd like to share with each of you is something we call the visioning exercise. And I've been using this tool since 1990, it's a long time. I've used it with clients for a long time. And let me describe, we just handed out for those who are here. And for those who are not here, I would be email Mr. Albright or myself directly, and we'll get you a copy of this. And if you want a digital copy of this, please contact me. But this form is really in 3 parts. The first part, part A, is please describe your business from today's perspective. And there are 10 questions. The first question, I actually recommend they do last. What business are you in? What is your elevator pitch? And then I won't go through all these here, but I go through a series of questions about who is their customer, their target, the needs that they're addressing, their competitors, their capabilities, how they're advantaged, do they have any partners, significant partners, how are they funded, and the 10th question in the first part is, what are your top 3 business issues today? And to Leon's point, it could be a customer issue or a employee issue or funding or what have you. Part B is the creative exercise. Same questions basically, with one exception. Stand in the future. And I've also found that 3 years is a good time frame, but it depends on the business. Some businesses, 1 or 2 years may be more appropriate for an early stage company. But let's just stick with 3 years for the moment. Now, stand in the future. It's August of 2027. And what is your aspiration for your business? Where would you like this business to be? Think big, be creative. This is also true for individuals who may be in healthcare or what have you. Similar questions. And these 10 questions really allow you to describe a business comprehensively, completely, I would argue. And then the third part C, third part of this is, okay, I have an aspiration for where I'd like to go. Today I'm a sole proprietorship. In 3 years' time, I'd like to have maybe 2 employees. I'd like to be doing additional things. Then, what are the critical things, the 3 critical things that I need to do between now and then to achieve that aspiration, to achieve that vision? Big companies do this. Amazon in particular, they call it future back, or yeah, something like that, future back. They often have, when they start a new project or product, they go to the future, describe what this product will look like in 3 years. And then, now let's look back and figure out how we're going to get to that point. And so this is a very powerful thought process. This takes a little bit more time, actually, than the first exercise, where I'm just asking people to get information about the 3 C's. As you can see, the 3 C's are represented here. But this is a very powerful way to begin to think bigger about your business. And there are 2 things, I could spend hours just talking about how I use this simple template, but the truth is, there's sort of 2 things that I'm looking for when I have our clients do this. Now, sometimes the client may be a sole proprietor, one person. In those instances, I often try to encourage them to partner with others, have other people participate. Someone who knows them well or knows their business well. Perhaps partner with another person at CSRA, Business Week. There's benefit in having more than one person do this. But the 2 things that I'm looking for is how focused and is their execution today? How well are they able to get things done today? Short-term focus, tactical, versus they have a big aspiration, a big vision for where they're going. And the 2 classic problems that I run into, having been consulting for now over 20 years, are businesses are really good at what they're doing today, delivering a product or a service to their customer, but they don't have a vision of how they can expand their business, their products or services. And sometimes those products and services become obsolete. And so, good short-term focus, but too small an aspiration. And then I also have worked with startups in particular who are maybe the opposite. They've got these big lofty ideas for taking over the world, but they can't tie their shoes properly. They're having trouble executing on some simple things. And then, gosh, you can have both. I don't have a big idea, and I don't have a very good ability to execute. These are some of the things that I'll look for as a result of this exercise. Another powerful thing about this tool is if you are an employer business with multiple employees, you can invite some of them to participate as well, have them complete this template. And then have them do it individually and then compare the templates. What language are they using? Do they describe the business the same way? And aligning, especially on the part A, describing the business today, it's amazing how people will describe the same business in different ways. So aligning folks is a very powerful aspect of this. So this is a little bit more ambitious. The first question is, what's going on here? Can I collect some information online from the library to better understand my customers, my capabilities, and my competitors? And the second exercise, can I do a better job of visioning where describing the business today and where I want it to take it? Questions, comments? Okay. So this next part, I'm going to start with a little video. Just a sec. You've heard about, rock climbing. There's something called bouldering. Bouldering is different from climbing mountains or, bouldering is about, you have these smaller scale formations that these people try to climb. And the one I'm going to show you, imagine a boulder that's 12 feet high and then juts out 5 feet, then goes up another few feet. How can someone navigate this boulder? So let me play this real quick. So this gentleman is, oh shoot, it's not, okay. I guess it's not going to show on the screen. It's weird, isn't it? All right, well.
Exit the PowerPoint probably.
Yeah, okay. My apologies. So we'll just do it this way. Okay.
Still in the PowerPoint.
Oh, now it's working?
No, it's, you need to exit the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Can't even do it. I love it. Ready? Yeah, then you just bring the video up.
Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'll play it again. Sorry about that. Okay. So this is 12 feet high, juts out 5 or 6 feet, and we'll see how this gentleman navigates this boulder. You can see it. These boulders are rated on difficulty from like 1 to 10. This is a 7A boulder, very famous boulder in France. And the reason I bring this up is the solution to that boulder, to getting up that boulder, which very few people can do, right, is called, they call it the crux. And that's the name that Richard Rummelt has given to solving complex challenges. So I've adopted that language as well. This is one of my favorite books on strategy. It's The Crux by Richard Rummelt. Professor Rummelt teaches strategy at UCLA out in Southern California. And I've read hundreds of books on strategy, and this is just one of my favorites. And once again, the basic idea is he stole this from bouldering. Very few people can do this move. And that leap of faith, where the gentleman was literally leaping into the unknown to grab a small piece of the rock and pull himself up. And I've seen a few different videos, and they all have the same sort of footwork and handwork to scale this thing. And that's the analogy we'd like to use in business. So my first example is Elon Musk. Not my favorite person, but he is a very interesting strategist. And what he did with SpaceX is quite impressive. So, Mr. Musk, remember I talked about vision? He's worried that humanity needs to move to another planet. It may not happen in his lifetime or my lifetime, but that was his long-term vision. And to get there, he focused on one big challenge, which is, how can I change the economics of spaceflight? Spaceflight is very costly. These huge rockets take off, and then sections fall into the ocean. And his idea, his crux was, what if I could return those rockets and reuse them? Fuel is a lot cheaper than the rocket. And so he embarked, his company started launching rockets, and he had failure after failure after failure, several of which are depicted in these little videos. And he, when he finally got an opportunity to launch a $400 million satellite for NASA, it blew up. And then he also was working on, how can I get the pieces to come back safely to Earth? And the first 4 attempts resulted in explosions. He spent $100 million of his own money that he had made from PayPal, and he was just about to go bankrupt. And as often the case with Ms. Elon Musk's businesses, it was the government that bailed him out, NASA. NASA saw enough value here that they supported him going forward at a pivotal moment. And he solved this challenge. And he is now SpaceX is the leader in sending things into low Earth orbit. You may have heard that there are 2 astronauts stuck on the space station. Their Boeing capsule is not properly working. And the last I heard is a SpaceX mission early next year will retrieve them. The other thing he's done with this capability is he's launched small satellites, over 5,000 satellites, and he's offering something called Starlink. Starlink is a satellite-based internet service. It's been instrumental in the Ukraine war. And so the point I like to make is, just like that bouldering person, there was sort of one way to get up that boulder, and very few people could do it. SpaceX figured out how to get change the economics of space travel. Let me do one more, and we'll get into some smaller ones. Netflix. Do any of you watch Netflix? Go on. No?
Can't afford it.
All right. All right.
Can't afford it.
Okay, that's fair. Well, Netflix had a challenge. All of a sudden, everybody else wants to get into the streaming business. Disney,
Yeah.
Peacock, Paramount. And, it was getting very, very competitive. So that was the challenge. And the crux is they have become very good at streaming international movies and shows. I am particularly fond of Korean dramas, as Laura knows. And they have figured out that the way they can compete with Disney and the high production costs in this country is tapping into all their international relations. And you can see wonderful, I've seen some wonderful movies from all parts of the world on Netflix. And some of them you have to read subtitles. So
What was Blockbuster's craze?
VCRs went out.
right, yes. So those are from the book. Now let's get this closer to Earth. Do any of you know who Pinky Cole is?
Yes.
All right, this is Miss Pinky Cole on the left, and Ms. Beatrice Dixon on the right. And Miss Pinky Cole, in 2014, she became a vegan.
That's right.
And it's very hard to be a vegan.
Is she
If
the
you like-
owner of Slutty Vegan?
Yeah. If you like if you like cheese or eggs or meat, very hard to be a vegan.
Yes.
And she had an ambition. She wanted to make vegan food accessible and tasty and exciting for meat eaters. And so she started with a food truck, very modestly. In 2018, she started with a food truck. And then in January of 2019, she started her first restaurant called Slutty Vegan. Slutty Vegan. Slutty.
Okay.
And in the first 6 months of that operation, she made $4 million. And she has some fantastic foods,
Yes.
comfort vegan foods. And she's now into bar vegan. She has these bars that she's doing. And the last I heard about Ms. Pinky Cole is she's gonna be opening a shop at the Atlanta airport,
Wow.
okay? So she started with a food truck. She's got 14 restaurants and bars, and the sky is the limit for Ms. Pinky Cole. What's the crux? Comfort vegan food. This is not diet food. These are huge burgers with, delicious, and, you could fool me that they're not meat. And it's a $100 million business today.
She also gives the LLCs to all the graduating seniors in Savannah
She's
State.
a wonderful philanthropist.
Yes.
Miss Beatrice,
Not for Valley, but Savannah State.
Ms. Beatrice Nixon, the picture here on the right, in 2012, she started a feminine hygiene products business. Not my best topic. But she she saw a need, and she started using a natural, product, mint, lavender, aloe, to design she's developed over 60 products, which are sold in 33,000 stores today, Target, Walmart, you name it. She revolutionized that aisle. That aisle used to be just a bunch of blue boxes, and she's made it exciting.
I think the primary issue also, if I could speak to the products, is with tampons and pads. If they're made of cotton, but oftentimes the cotton is treated with pesticides
Right.
or things that could be
Terrible
potentially toxic. And so
Yeah.
the idea behind Honey Pot was like organic, chemical-free products that won't mess with anything.
So what's the crux? What was the solution here? The hook, the dance move, special sauce. Part of it is that, the herbal pads and these natural products. But I think what she really did was she destigmatized feminine hygiene products. She used social media, TikTok, which I never used, but I heard about, to help young women in particular. It's okay to talk about this stuff. It's okay, and she's made these products very exciting. She did 121 million in 2023. That's just over a decade since she started the business, which was very humbly started in her kitchen with a simple product.
Wow.
And in January of this year, she sold the business for $380 million, and she stuck with it. She's a fascinating person, and I could spend an hour just talking about Ms. Dixon. Those are some Georgia success stories. I'm not going to go through all of these, but when we work with our clients at the Georgia MBDA Business Center, I'm trying to help them find their crux. And the hook, the one thing that can really, the solution to a big challenge that can really send their business into orbit. For sake of time, I'm not going to go through some of those. And this is how you do it. You sit down and you think about, what are the biggest challenges in my business? And These challenges could be product related or market related or other challenges. Can I solve it? And then what is my unique focused solution? So back to Elon Musk, how can I change the economics of space travel? I want to be able to return the rockets and reuse them. He tried over and over again. They blew up. They didn't land right until he figured it out. He solved the problem. Now he dominates space travel. Miss Pinky Cole, I love vegan food. I'm a vegan. How can I make vegan food exciting and palatable to a meat eater? And she developed products in an exciting store and so forth. So focusing on the crux is the third thing I wanted to talk about. Any questions or comments? Okay. And this once again applies to a business and an individual. What's your crux, Leon? Now, what is it that, what challenge can you uniquely solve? And that's the kind of thinking that I try to incorporate in our work. Now, I'm going to skip ahead here for a bit. And this is sort of related to the crux. I hope you're still with me. So another important aspect of this is, what don't you do? What don't you do? Right?
Are they still in business?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're a good airline. They're up in the Northeast and East-West travel.
Oh,
This is a few years old, but JetBlue came along in a very, the airline business is it's a tough business. It's hard to make money in the airline business. Southwest has done well. So these folks came along and they said, what can we eliminate and focus on something else? So for example, no meals, just one class of service. They were the first to use the satellite TV, with the monitors, with lots of channels. Their feeling was a premium snack was better than a bad meal. And they, like Southwest, tried to create a friendlier cabin service environment. So this concept of when you know what your crux is, what your focus is, what can you stop doing? What can you eliminate? So 2 more examples. What's the best hamburger in the country? In-N-Out Burger.
That's debatable.
steak and shake.
In-N-Out Burger is a chain on the West Coast that has done very, very well for itself in a very crowded industry. And they said, we're going to make custom hamburgers. So they have these little stalls. They have multiple chefs making you a custom hamburger, fried onions, all the ingredients, the buns, the vegetables are very fresh. The meat's very fresh. What don't they do? There's no Happy Meals. There's no breakfast. There's no chicken or fish. It's just really good burgers. You've all heard of IKEA. And IKEA basically are able to deliver lower cost furnitures and other housewares. You have to assemble it yourself. You got to perhaps pick it up yourself. And they've done very, very well by eliminating certain features and delighting customers with other features, where their crux is, their ability to create these kits. So in summary, I thank you for your patience and attention. My goal was to introduce, a few simple ideas that could be very powerful, I believe, in helping you grow your business. The first question is, can you answer the question, what's going on here? And there's so much information available now about your competitors, about your customers, about your own capabilities. try to find the time. I don't think you have to spend a lot of time on this to get more insightful about what's happening in your business. Two, sort of related to the first one, this concept of a vision or an aspiration. Where do you want to be in 3 years as an individual, as a business? And write it down. And then finally, I know it's a little bit nebulous, it took me a while to master this third concept of the crux, this hook, special sauce, secret recipe. You know, we all have a dance move, right? You know, those boulderers, or, you know, they know how to get up that crazy thing. The technical term for this is called challenge-based strategy. And I believe, and then, you know, related to that was the last thing I quickly showed you. When you know what your crux is, stop doing the other stuff. You know, is there something you can say to the customer? Now, I'm really good at this, and I'm not going to give you a Happy Meal. I'm not going to give you, you know, these other things that Delta Airlines or United give vis-a-vis JetBlue. I'm going to stop here and get your feedback, answer any questions or comments you may have. Leon, how'd I do?
Did great.
I got your attention.
You got my attention.
I was watching you. Any thoughts?
I think I'm not a business owner, but the first one, what's going on here, I think small business be so concentrating on the business and don't even know that there is a, you know, they don't have it, it's just them and maybe 3 or 4 workers to really have time to look at the situation analysis, and I think maybe that's how they get.
And what I
Just somebody come and said, maybe if you close the door, you know,
That is true.
you'll get better results.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. When they come in and talk, a lot of them don't understand that it's more than just saying I want a business plan.
Sure.
I need some money, and I'm gonna open up a business. It's just, and I know this. Dr. Brookins knows that because when she worked, she came in with the idea of what she wanted to do, and then we worked on it. But we have a lot of clients that will come and say they want to start a business until they see, after we get them our questionnaire or the business plan questionnaire, we don't see them no more.
Yeah. And that's why I tried to simplify things.
Yes, we don't see
This is
them.
a very simple template that many of our clients can fill out, you know, on a weekend, a couple of, you know. And I haven't, you know, completely broken the code, Mr. Albright, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to, you know,
You and me both.
simplify these ideas, make them more usable. One question I often get is, you know, how often should I do this? And the answer is, well, start with once a year. Just start, you know, do it your first time. There's power in writing things down. I love to embarrass clients a year or two later. Oh, let's look at what you said when we first started doing this. And that's a learning. There's a learning that's built into that. But I have found that a very good frequency is once every 100 days. Notice I didn't say every 2 quarters. So today is August 20th. So if you do it today, do it on by November 30th, in 100 days. See how things have changed, and see if you have reason to revise it.
Stop me if I'm, or stop me if you want, Marty, but the other thing I kind of think clients need to do, or customers or anybody, is you need to actually set aside time for this.
Yeah.
Like on your calendar, block it out. If it's 30 minutes a week, an hour every 2 weeks, like, if you don't like set or block the time out, you're just never gonna get around to it.
Yeah, that's true.
And once again, I purposely did that first part. Took me an hour and 20 minutes to gather that data. And there's so many wonderful resources here in this library, no doubt. There's to Lauren's point, come in on a Saturday, spend a couple of hours thinking about your business, about yourself in your career, and write it down. Commissioner, any other reaction?
Well, very good, presentation.
Well, thank you.
Maybe I'll come and open up, let Mr. Albright develop my,
As we say,
business plan.
come on down.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Thanks, Ellis. for
Thank you.
this
And,
opportunity.
and we're gonna do this again in, once you check your
January.
calendar.
Yeah, I like to do it in person because I can meet people and all that. But thank you. And I'm glad everything kind of worked here.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Lauren. And thank you for, how many, we had 3 in the audience? Anybody still there?
Right now, we had 15 online.
Are there any questions from the online participants?
I don't see any.
Okay. Well, Mr. Albright has my contact information, and we would love to hear from folks.